Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Twitch here at Bunkerzilla, or Bunkerzilla UK at Twitch. And it is, of course, Tuesday night. And don't adjust your TV sets. You are watching the right show. This is the Big Stomp, and it is Host Rules. I'm your host today, Iain Boulton, and the name of the game is talking about the latest going-ons in the world of geek and pop culture. And as always, I have guests to join me on this great adventure. Let's bring them in now. So first and foremost, we have our reigning quiz smash champion. It is, of course, Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am doing lovely. Is this your first time on a Big Stomp?
This one, I think I did one way back in the day.
Way back in the pre-Twitch days. Probably around that.
Pre.
I think everyone tonight had been on Big Stomp in some way or form. It's just, when did they first debut?
Yeah, I think I've come up with topics for the one where you bring your topic. Yeah, I'm sure I've come up with topics for that.
Oh, cool. But
yes,
lovely to have you as always. We also have the delightful Harriet. Hello, Harriet. You've moved from over to Big Stomp. How are you doing?
I'm good, yes.
Good. And it wouldn't be a Big Stomp without him. It is, of course, in a guest seat today. It is the Righty Man.
Hello, greetings from the Super Fortress.
Is it weird being on the other side today?
Well, I'll just I'm basically planning on just seeing how things go and constantly mentally judging you, and then afterwards verbally judging you. So.
Yeah, but it is the way of life here on the Big Stomp. But as always, we also have our audience. Hello, if you're watching today on Twitch, do get involved in the conversations. Do let us know your thoughts about the topics that we are going to be talking about and discussing. And yes, get involved in the conversation. So why don't we get straight onto it? So basically with Host Rules, the way I'm approaching it is I've gone out and I've shortlisted lots of different mini topics and news stories that I think have been very important over the last 2 weeks since the last episode of Big Stomp, and yeah, we're just gonna have a chat about them, see where we go, and take it from there. So obviously if we talk about news, there is one story that we can't, well, it's been one of the big news, especially for comic book and movie fans, and that is, of course, the sad passing of Chadwick Boseman. I think it's about less than 2 weeks ago. Yes, the actor died at the age of 43 from I believe it is colon cancer or bowel cancer or something around those lines. So yeah, it was a very, very big loss, and it completely came out of nowhere, to be perfectly honest. A credit to the actor for keeping it kind of stum, because he obviously didn't want people to kind of fret over obviously his condition. But he was first diagnosed with it in 2016. It might have been around the same time as he filmed his very first Marvel role for Civil War. And then you just have to bear that in mind, that for the rest of the Marvel films that he took part in, Avengers, Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and of course Black Panther, which was the first superhero movie to get a Best Picture Oscar nomination, to go through all those roles in that condition is staggering, and it just puts a lot of things in a whole different light. Any thoughts and obviously reactions to the sad news?
I mean, I first heard about it the morning after it happened, because funnily enough, I was watching a stream, and then someone brought it up in it, and it was only afterwards when that person tweeted about it, I thought, what's going on? I mean, I was completely oblivious, waking up, you don't realize what's happened, and then when it was such a shock, because like you said, he kept it so hidden. And I mean, I haven't actually seen Black Panther, but I've seen him in the Avengers movie, and I thought he was fantastic. So but yeah, it was a massive shock to hear of it when it happened, and just such a great loss as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously outside of obviously the Marvel films, he's played real life figures as well. He's played Jackie Robinson in 42. He's played James Brown in Get On Up. So he's really made a sort of a big impact as a cultural icon, especially as Black Panther, and as someone who has brought these legends of obviously Black history to life as well on cinema.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, it's just I mean, I don't have much more to add. There are people who say things far more eloquently than I do. But all I could think was just 43 is just no age, is it? It's just 43 is, for many of us, not that far away from where we are right now. And, you know, you kind of think of, when you hear about an actor passing these days, it's, you know, you get sad. I mean, I remember being mortified about Bowie and Alan Rickman. But there's something about, okay, 60 is still not an age. It's still not old. But to hear someone, you know, especially somebody who seemed as young and fit as he was, to go at 43 after suffering for so long, like you say, it's just, I don't know, it just seems to make it really unfair.
I'm older than he was. And when I got the news, it was just, that was it. That was the day ruined. I can't really think it. I don't mean this in a negative way, but there's not much else to say about the Chadwick Boseman thing, because so much has already been said. He was a phenomenal talent. I know a lot of, I'm not going to dismiss the impact of him as the Black Panther, and I'm not going to say he didn't bring his craft to the Black Panther, but he had, just as a raw actor, people who only know him from the Black Panther are absolutely missing out on the guy's chops. He was an amazing actor who was, I don't even know if he was hitting his stride. I'm like, that guy was just getting better, his choice of pictures was phenomenal. And then he's just not there, and it's like, wow.
It's kind of seen because he sort of made a name for himself doing the Jackie Robinson baseball film 42 back in 2013. And it's like, so in a very short time from 2013 all the way to now, he exploded. His stock just went up and up with every film. And obviously being a part of Marvel, more eyes are on you. And yeah, I think there's still one or two films still to come, which he did film before he died. But there was also, I think, one of his last major roles before his passing was The Five Bloods, which was Spike Lee's Vietnam War film, which is a good film as well. It's like he has a very small role in it, but it makes it smart.
It is a really good film. But that's what I mean. He's going to be remembered for Black Panther, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that wasn't, he wasn't close to what he could have been. And that's and yeah, because the impact of that, and people instantly started discussing what's going to happen with Black Panther next, and that is part of the discussion. That is that's a sign of how much impact he had and how much reverence people held for that role, which he will always be linked to. I have very firm opinions on it, but I'm mostly just shocked at him being gone.
Yeah. It just seems very, it's like 43 is like, it doesn't feel like it's not the right age at all to.
He's younger than me. That's not right. But that's the world.
Say la vie, really. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right as well. I mean, the conversations about what Marvel Studios do moving forward, it needs to happen. There was something in very poor taste about like 3 or 4 hours straight after Boseman's passing. I think, there was a publication that decided to go, well, what happens now that he's died? It's like, well,
yeah.
I don't know if that's in bad taste, because that's a serious question. Because the impact he had, the impact that role had, the change that role made. Because I mean, I know there's all those. There's been a huge number of pictures of like African American kids, doing like farewell ceremonies to the Black Panther. You know, this is like in the modern age, this is the first outright superhero, black superhero, for wish for a better phrase, on that scale. But there's also been a huge amount of non-black kids doing the same thing, and that to me is huge, because that's kids who aren't black going, I can totally revere this black character, and that is huge. That is those kids are going to grow up going, yeah, so you're black, so what? You know, what do you like? You know, just as holding everyone to that standard. But I do think the question needs to be asked, because it's like, well, do you replace him? What do you do if you don't replace him? Who then becomes the Black Panther? That has a lot to do with that role and the impact of his death. So I don't think it's bad taste to start asking those questions. I think it can be asked in a distasteful way.
Yeah, I think for the people who were still kind of reeling with, let us just accept, because like you say, it came out of nowhere. It's not like we were aware that he was poorly and this was a possibility. It was just like, boom, he's gone. So, but I kind of understand where people were maybe coming from, because I think there was a worry that this could be used as a way of sidelining those characters again and putting them back into obscurity, whereas they've just managed to get to the point where, yes, like you were saying, this has had huge cultural impact, massive impact. And I think some people were worried that this would be an excuse for certain people within the industry to go, oh, well, that's a shit. Well, let's not make any more of those then. Because we don't want to offend his memory, so we won't make any more, which is not the way to do it. I have seen a very good story going around that's saying that they don't think that Black Panther should be replaced, as in they get another character to play, another actor to play the character that Chadwick Boseman played, but instead having his sister inherit the character, as would naturally progress in, you know, like how there is now a female Thor because of how the story naturally progressed. Not going to get into the whole people that seem to be very, very upset about the fact that females are allowed to be superheroes now. Because apparently it's a new thing that 2020 is just allowing. But I'm not getting into that. But so I see where you're coming from, Andrew. I think it's good that some people are asking that question, but maybe on the other side of the fence, some people thought, okay, yeah, it is an important question, but can we just breathe? Because this is something that has taken us by sidelined.
Intellectually, I can get why people went into that, because the whole I mean, it blew up. It was you couldn't go anywhere, especially if you're in the nerd culture world. That was the topic for the day. So when the topic for the day is so monolithic, you get clicks and you get discussion by going off the core topic. So it's a tricky one. But then again, fans were asking that straight away, and I think, and I'm going to take that in a positive light, because it is, oh my god, Chadwick's gone, that is terrible. And then your next thought is, oh my god, the Black Panther, what are they going to do to him? Because the Black Panther meant more to people than Chadwick did, because they knew the Black Panther, they didn't know Chadwick, because Chadwick Boseman, wonderful chap, never knew him. Black Panther, well, I've seen the inner workings of his soul. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend it hit me on a personal level, because I never knew the guy, but it still sucks massively. It's a complicated situation.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a conversation that Marvel does need to have. I think they had positioned Black Panther 2 to be out at some point, 21, 22. Obviously, that probably not going to happen at this rate now.
I hope it goes ahead. I'll be really upset if Black Panther 2 doesn't come through, but I have the people involved in it now are going to have so much pressure on them, because Black Panther was a dump movie. Black Panther came out in the dump slot. It massively outperformed expectations. It was a phenomenon. It came out of nowhere, effectively. I know it was a Marvel movie, but it was it was out the same time as Alita and all the other, let's just contractually obligation release, and it absolutely blew up. And the people now, it became a phenomenon, and people were like, okay, well, we can do 2 and we can progress the story, because the whole thing hinges on Chadwick Boseman in their mind. They're now going to have to replicate that without him and have the same effect. So for the people making it, yeah, I'm happy. Take a year, take 2 years, take whatever time you want. Make sure you make it, but please land it, because you're gonna have so much. And I respect the fact they're gonna have so much pressure on their shoulders for it.
I was just going to say, I think it doesn't matter what decision Marvel makes. Someone's going to see the bad of it, and they're going to disagree with it anyway.
Oh, loads of people went mental because there was a black guy being a superhero, and my entire response to them is "fuck off." Yeah. He was great.
Yeah.
I loved the fact I saw someone that wasn't me on the screen. I'm a cis white middle class male. I am bored of all the stories about me. Fuck them. I want to hear about someone else.
Cool. Well, obviously not cool, sorry, yeah. But yeah, just having a quick look in chat, just briefly. Loco is great. Even the people who he worked with in Marvel were in shocks about it, since they didn't know either. So yeah, his condition was pretty close to his chest. But again, the outpouring of love and memories from in the news was really good. I think one of the classiest moves was from DC Comics. DC saluted Black Panther as well, and I mean, for potentially warring comic book brands, it's a nice gesture and a nice professional.
This is what people often forget. The two comics have a huge history, a long-standing history of doing this, because yes, they're competing companies, but also they're people and they're not arses. So it was lovely they did it, but they've done it before, which is not to take away from it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we will move on to our next little mini subject. We're going to stay with movies for a little bit, because the next one is we're looking at what's currently happening in cinema now. Let's move over to the wonderful world of Christopher Nolan and Tenet to talk about box office. Now, obviously, Tenet's had a bit of a bumpy road, like most films, to get to the cinema, and it eventually did come out about a couple of weeks ago in the UK. It's just come out in America, and obviously the big question is this a film that will get people out and to cinemas? In the UK, for its first weekend, it made £5.4 million. The first figures from the American box office have come through. Tenet's made about 20 million for its US opening. Currently sat at 150 million total gross. The current UK box office is over 10 million. So in terms of I think the reason I'm kind of looking at this is obviously it's a healthier picture, obviously, for the cinema industry at the moment, because a lot of people were kind of were just thinking it's best to write off movies for the rest of the year or just go stream and digital. And we've just had Mulan come out, and people can hear my thoughts about Mulan tomorrow on Film Raw. Spoiler, they're not good.
That seems to be the theme.
Well, no, I'm going to be honest. I have with Mulan, I have no interest in it other than it's an experiment. Does it work? But I have been hearing so many mixed reviews, as in some people reckon it's the greatest movie ever. Some people reckon it's awful. Mulan is too political for people to, it's going to always get a mixed view. Yeah. But Tenet, I think we can say is going to your question, has the Great Plague killed cinema? Can it recover? I think Tenet is a certified maybe, because it's the only game in town. It's not been a resounding success, and in some places it was literally what the multiplex was screening on multiple screens.
Yeah, this is true.
I don't know how happy they are with the figures. There's a bit of me which is it's a bit of Hail Mary, because people kind of like it, but I mean, that's not huge numbers.
Yeah, I think obviously if cinema was having a normal business period, a business environment, obviously those numbers look a bit low. But I think considering it's very rare for a film at the UK box office to do very well, even on a standard weekend. I mean, you'll get the odd sort of 2 million, 3 million. You'll get a good, healthy box office return if it's a Marvel film, if it's like Pixar or something like that. But again, this is not a franchise movie. This is a tentpole release. It basically
It is a
most
franchise.
films-
It's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's a franchise. Christopher Nolan movies are huge. So I don't see that as an argument. You know, he is a brand. People go and see Christopher Nolan movies. So I would honestly, I do not think if we weren't in the plague, I think if we weren't in the plague times, I don't think these numbers would be that much different because, as I said, for a lot of people, this was the cinema experience because this was what was on. So it's not done that great. It's done okay, but
I'm just having a quick look
Yeah,
at
'cause I
opening
just-
box office for some of his last films.
Because I just had a look at the production
We're looking at some numbers.
of Tenet.
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 It's like David
Tenet.
Tennant, but not
No.
David Tennant.
Tenet. Tenet.
Tenet.
Tenet.
Tenet. Anyway, I clearly haven't seen it, and I probably won't. But I just looked up the production cost was $200 million. So if you took the pandemic out of the equation, it's not great. I know that it's the opening weekend, but I don't know. I mean, in the end, the industry is about how much you put in and how much you get out.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably knowing they're going to operate at a loss because of Corona. It's just... And like Andrew was saying, if it's the only film at the cinema, although that might have been, I don't know, a bonus for it because people were just desperate to get out.
That's what I'm saying. This was the big, shiny... You've got to go and see it in the cinema. We can't release it anywhere else because you have to go see it on the screen. It was sci-fi. It was action. It was this is a summer movie, so you can go and watch it and feel like it's the summertime. And it's on multiple screens, and it did okay.
I've got some numbers for you here.
Yeah, because the argument. Sorry, go.
So the Inception opening weekend for at the moment was 62 million in the US, and it finished with about 292 million domestically for that. Interstellar had a stronger opening. It opened to $132.6 million for worldwide gross. So with Tenet already at 150 million worldwide, it's been a bit more successful already than Interstellar. So for Nolan, then it's getting there. And if it's not 200 million, it's 50 million off. So
I just it's done okay.
Yeah, I know that this film has been used as a bit of a thing against Mulan because people are arguing, like you said, Iain, it's a film for the cinema. You know, it's big, it's budget, it's summer, it's wow. Whereas people are saying that Mulan should have had the same treatment because a lot of people are saying that it just doesn't get the same effect as being on, because I think it was released on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's only on Disney Plus at the moment.
Yeah, and people are saying that they've sold short because it's such this big sweeping epic that it should have been out in the cinema. And why was Tenet released in the cinema and Mulan wasn't, when they're both kind of big visual heavy films?
Yeah,
because Nolan's stubborn and said you've got to release it in cinema because he had some ridiculous final stuff in his contracts. Like had to go
Nolan's going to get a say because he's Golden Boy at the moment. And
considering the amount of money he made from the Dark Knight trilogy, Warner Brothers are just happy. They'll just keep if he wants to do random films. I want to do a 2-hour film about a man eating a sandwich. They'll bring it and they'll give him $300 million for it.
Yeah,
because they know at the moment he will bring some of that money back. In terms of going slightly off topic towards Mulan, the issue I have with Mulan generally is that UK cinemas are generally open now, and of course people should only go out if they feel safe to do so, and so forth. And when I've been going to the cinema, I've been taking every precaution. Obviously, the face masks are obviously mandatory, sanitizers, all that sort of stuff. But with UK cinemas being open, I cannot fathom in my mind why Disney couldn't just try it on Disney Plus and also send it to UK cinemas at the same time, because it's kind of like it is technically counter programming when you're going against like a big, and it is male led action blockbuster Tenet, and you have Mulan, which is on the surface a cultural film. Obviously, it's a female lead as well. And one of my
female director.
And female director. And one of my big issues with this decision is like it doesn't give a good message when you're trying to be positive about diversity, because it's like this is a female-led historical action adventure, Chinese cast and all that sort of stuff, and you're relegating it to a small TV.
The reason they gave is that they are literally doing it as an experiment to see what the market is like. They have basically, whether the official reason they have given, make of that what you will, is rather than delay it, which was their initial reaction, they decided, as it was the next big Disney, they're literally trying the waters to see if they can beat more money out of the Disney Plus piñata, because this way they don't have to play the cinema's shit. So that's why they did it, which to a great degree, because doing so really pissed off the cinemas.
It did.
I think that shows confidence in the film. I think that shows confidence in the product you have, because you don't decide to piss off the people that will make you money if you've got it wrong with something that you don't think's going to shit money like the greased golden goose.
To a point, but then I would also argue, do you think they would have done the same if it had been the Beauty and the Beast remake? You know, a big name star, a musical, more Disney.
Mulan is pretty big. Mulan was their big summer release. This was the one that they were hoping to pack the cinemas in before the kids returned to school. So you can't say they weren't gunning for it. I think, honestly, they went with it because they wanted to see what their big summer release would do on this new format.
I think for certain films, and I think we have talked about on Big Stomp and in other forms of Bunkerzilla products, there have been decent successes going to digital straight away. Trolls World Tour was one of them, but then it's like the issue is like, I think for some people they might be a bit indifferent because obviously it's Mulan, but it's when you turn the tables onto different films. So what if Black Widow doesn't get its cinema release and goes straight to Disney Plus? What would you guys think if that was the case?
I'd think if that happens, I'd think that the Mulan experiment worked. I think Disney are just going, right, well, we've seen how much people like home entertainment. We know everyone's staying home because of the plague. Let's roll the dice, see what we get.
Okay.
Possibly, yeah. I suppose I just think more about accessibility. Like, I don't have Disney Plus, and I have no desire to get it. I'm not going to get it just for a few films. But if it was at the cinema, I've got the choice. So I know people would say, oh, well, you could pay for the film at home. But if I'm going to the cinema, I want the cinema experience. And that's why I pay to go to the cinema.
Oh,
so
great.
I wouldn't pay to watch it at home. I'd be like, I'll wait for DVD, or if I'm that bothered. And there's going to be a lot of people who are just immediately on that barrier of signing up to Disney Plus. They'll just be, I don't want to sign in. I don't want to sign up to something. I just want to pay a one-off. Whether or not you can do that, I don't know. But I think the mentality is that
you can do.
Yeah, it still involves it sounds like a lot more brain work than just buying a cinema ticket.
Yeah.
The other thing to remember is Mulan's going to be out for free on Disney Plus eventually. So
December
what?
December 4th is when it arrives for film.
What people are essentially buying is early access. But then Disney have said that all their cinema releases are going to be ending up on Disney Plus. Yeah. So
I think
it's an experiment in their new format.
So we got a comment from Loco is Great again. They say they think it could damage jobs if they move more of their big movies over to Disney Plus.
Yeah,
it's a possibility. I mean, it does render cinemas obsolete to a sense, or basically, I'm not sure who I had the conversation with, but the thought process is multiplexes might phase out, and then you still have independent cinema to a degree. but then most of these big blockbusters are now just going straight to streaming. So it's very kind of choppy waters, I guess.
For me, the big question is, will Mulan be released for cinemas?
See, I was
my understanding from
I was going
um,
to say, I don't know if it does, if it's successful on Disney Plus, would it move to the cinema? I don't know. I mean,
I was just going. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to chip in on that question. Basically, what Disney have said is if they're able to release it in cinema, they'll only do so if the country in question does not have Disney Plus.
I meant afterwards. So
no plans. It's Disney Plus all the way.
wow.
Okay, because
I suppose if you think about it from sorry, I was just thinking from like a maths point of view, because like you buy Disney Plus for your house and you've got 6 kids, you pay one for the film, and all 6 of your kids and your husband and your gran can all watch it. Whereas if you go to the cinema, that's like 8 tickets, individual tickets, popcorn, drinks, and I just there's still this huge industry.
You're the first person I've heard argue it that way. Everyone else I've known has been like, I don't want to pay 15 quid for a thing I could see at the cinema for a tenner, because they live by themselves. And no one
it's
likes
great
them.
if you think about yourself, but if you're thinking about, like, especially because Disney Plus is for kids, really. I mean, I don't think Mulan maybe will be getting the audience that, say, some of the other Disney remakes have had, like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, because it seems to be more grounded in history. That it's not a musical. I don't think there's a talking dragon in it. Nope. So it's a lot more grounded. So there's probably not going to be as much in terms of kids. But if this is the way they're going in the future, they also then have to factor that in, is that every time they release a Trolls or another Disney film, they're potentially losing that additional revenue. So they must be able to make it up somewhere. They wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Well, again, it's part of their experiment. The one thing I would say about it is they're both both movies are 12As. So they are theoretically accessible to the same market. However, I would suggest that if you have got a 12A at home, that means anyone can watch it, and your kid doesn't stamp their feet because they're not 12. So, not that
anyway, just quickly, before we move on to another topic. So I've actually had a quick look. There are some early stats about Disney Plus over Mulan release weekend.
Delicious.
The Disney Plus app spiked 68% on its first weekend on the platform. It's slightly lower than Hamilton's download spike of 79. Hamilton came out in July. So yeah, they're already. It seems like there has been an interest there. So again, it's like
that's thing is the Hamilton was you subscribed, you got Hamilton. This is you subscribe, you then pay for Mulan, you get Mulan. Yeah. So that's showing it works. Potentially. My thought process, I think I do mention briefly tomorrow on Film World, but the whole thing with the Premier Access thing, I kind of like the idea behind Premier Access, but rather per film, why don't they just do it like for extra? You'll be able to see Disney releases as well, the brand new Disney releases on Disney Plus at the same time they release at cinema. Now, if they were to do that, I would say that's actually not too bad, because then you can decide what you go to the cinema for and what you sit and watch at home. But that's why they're doing
system.
Yeah.
But that's why they're doing the experiment. This is fun. If you view this as market research, it starts making more sense. They're using live ammo to test it because that's what they have to do. I mean, you got to remember the idea of putting Hamilton on streaming was really, really weird, and then they did it. So this is just market research with massive movies. It's $200 million roll of the dice. I wouldn't want to be the person who's got to do the maths on that. Jesus.
I think the big issue.
A team.
I think the article I'm just reading now, I think one of the big difficulties I think movie studios are going to have to figure out with this sort of approach to doing streaming only sometimes is how do you work out the metrics if it's successful or not, especially if you're paying. But then again, Netflix have been able to kind of figure it out. If they've said nearly 99 million households watched Chris Hemsworth in Extraction earlier in the year,
they know exactly. They know what you've watched, and they'll pull it from there. The data they've got. You got to remember, these are the people who greenlight things like anything by Adam Sandler in the last 5 years, because they know you'll watch it. They know what you actually watch, and they know what's going on. So
cool. Okie dokie. So let's move on to our next little topic. 2 seconds. Okay, I believe Charlotte's just going to have a quick little break. We'll just take away from the stream for a second. There we go. So we are going to move over to chat all about multiplayer games, and one multiplayer game in particular. Let's talk about Fall Guys.
Yay!
Or the wonderful thing of multiplayer game issues at launch. So the story behind this, obviously, is Fall Guys came out last month. Huge, absolutely huge. Streamers, YouTubers, everyone was raving about it. Game launches on August 4th on PlayStation Plus for free, and on PC Steam for about $14.99. And there are obviously server issues. And obviously, some people, it's very understandable. People will go, "Oh, yeah, that you kind of get it." It's that fine balance. Some people understand. Yes, it's a big game. They haven't expected it to be this popular. I mean, if anyone who knows their video games well sat and went, you know what, a fun little homage to Takeshi's Castle is going to be one of the most popular games of the summer, people probably would have laughed. But obviously, the game launches, it's way popular than anyone imagines, and obviously server issues. I think for at least the first week, it was very hard to get a continuous run of games. I mean, I've done a couple of streams of the game here on Bunkerzilla. I know Harriet's done a couple of streams as well. Yeah, trying to play along on PlayStation Plus, and let's bring in Charlotte.
It's a fun little mental game.
It's adorable. It's adorable.
I love it.
So yeah, with Fall Guys being as popular, I think this is kind of like the norm. You should expect multiplayer game issue. You should expect server issues at launch if it's especially this popular. It seems a little harsh for people to bring out the pickaxes and say, "How dare you not have this game ready for launch?" Right? This game is broken launch. It's like
that.
We didn't know.
That's because all these people have the one bit of QA equipment that should be issued as standard to the games industry, 2020 hindsight, because they all knew that when they finally heard about it, it was going to be huge. And when they and all their 20 mates who only just, shit happens, get over it. You can do things to mitigate it, but having worked in the multiplayer game industry, you don't know what the hell's going to happen until you hit launch, frankly. Yeah. And anyone who's like, "Oh, it's got bugs in it," it's like, yeah, well, we have a QA staff of 20 people. They managed to pull 10 hours a day for a year QAing it. We then turned the game on, and and in the first hour, the player base had managed to do 100 times more that QA. It's what multiplayer games are like. It's been happening since the dawn of time. Get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't like I think some people were expecting the same thing as like one of the AAA games. Like, I know Red Dead got a lot of stick about, you've worked on this game for years. You've had people working around the clock. There's still stuff that's broken with it. And I can kind of see what they're saying. I don't think you should release a game knowing it's going to be broken, especially when people are paying like 60 odd quid or more for it. And then you basically say, "Oh, we just wanted to check. We'll fix that." And it's like, well, you kind of knew that there was going to be problems. That's a whole different argument.
Oh, yeah.
This is a game with little Tic Tacs who run around and bump each other, and they look like Tic Tacs. And, there's it's worldwide. Like you say, it took off. And I've just noticed a lot of people are talking about the hackers in the chat. Yeah. Leoko is great and Larry the Fuzzy. again, how are you supposed to predict that a load of people would suddenly think, "Oh, this looks like a fun game that everyone's having fun. I think I'm going to try and ruin it because I'm."
Oh no, that is totally predictable. That is standard gaming 101. As soon as there is a game, people will hack it for many reasons. But you know that's going to happen.
You're not always going to be able to predict that how they hack. You have to fix it. You're not always going to be able to predict how they're going to hack or what they're going to hack. And yeah, there's problems, but in the end, I mean, this isn't some game that I don't want to sound horrible because it is a really brilliant game and I love watching people play it. But it's not like a Mensa test, is it? It's a bit of fun.
Depends if you play
Yeah.
I mean, maybe on the memory game.
Speaking of someone who is definitely not a member of Mensa and who is awful at that game, it's not easy.
I'm not saying it's like a dumb game.
No. I totally agree with you. I just think I would just say it's how the games respond to these things that is more important than them being there. Hackers, they're an absolute pain in the arse, but they're also an inevitability. The thing that isn't an inevitability is how the company that made the game reacts to the hackers. That's where the issues come in.
From my experience, I mean, I've played a couple of games where there has been a hacker. One of the best things is that happened is people realized we were playing the egg basket game, team game, and one player was just picking up an egg and just going up, like floating right up into the air, and then just coming back down onto their basket. And then all the players, including his own teammates, went no, and they all kind of flopped and bombarded him. And kind of went, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay right here. It's like, no, you're not jumping to anywhere.
That is glorious.
I might be showing my age here because I've got to ask this question because I'm a gamer. I love gaming. I game lots, so I can usually understand the mentality of most gamers, but I don't understand the achievement feeling of hacking a game like this. You are literally doing it to piss other people off. That is it. And to me, then that's just like, okay, you're not even trying to do it to win. It's not like you're hacking because you want to be the best. You're doing it because you just want to piss off a load of people on the internet, which I'm a bit like...
I can explain the mentality to you if you want.
You can give it a go, yeah.
Okay, right. So number one of the big reasons people come up with hacks is the challenge. It is literally the finding, the creating, the going through, the finding the glitch, and the finding of the exploit or the writing of the code that will let people hack, that will let people hack, that will let people use the game in unexpected manner. There is the pure intellectual challenge of that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the people who are using the hacks, the reasons they will do it. Number one, pissing other people off. That is, just literally being able to do something other people can't and wrecking their day. That is one of the big reasons. Another big reason is for getting the achievements, getting the stats, boosting your way through. So they will get the thrill of the completion. They don't get it as long, they don't get it as hard, but they get a cheap thrill of it. Number three, especially if you have a game which is gated in any way, it's normally just to save time because they don't like the grind. They don't want to do all the noob stuff. They want to go straight to the final chapter of the movie. That will be the big reason for it. Number four, if you've got any manner of game that can be microtransacted, where people can, if it's got any in-game coinage, if it's got trinkets you can exchange, if people, again, if you've got the gating, if there's a desire to own higher level accounts so that people give money, people will do it purely just to get the stats so that they can then make the exchanges and make money off it. So those are the big psychological reasons people do it. I'm not endorsing any of those, but those are the big reasons people do it.
Just to quickly, I think the reason why the hacking for Fall Guys just seems a bit weird for me or just alien. It's just like why? Obviously, you mentioned those points there, and some of those points are probably true. Some of the hackers are. It's like this is a game where you don't get anything that helps you win a game through the reward system. You just get costumes and color schemes and little emotes. That's all you do. You don't have like a super powerful gun for something like Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah, but having all those emotes, having all those costumes, having all those bits of complete with someone somewhere is going to go, yeah, I want all of them, but I don't want to put in however many thousands of hours of grind I'd normally have to do. I want to have it. Their sense of achievement is getting those items, and they want to get them. Again,
really
this is.
But it's not fun.
Hey, I'm not endorsing this. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I know. I'm
Where-
talking to them. I keep hearing my gran in my head saying, "Well, if you have to cheat, you didn't achieve, did you?" You know, and it's like if you cheated, then you didn't get it. It doesn't count.
But you did get it. But that's the thing. You did. No, they have literally got it, and they've literally got it there, and that looks cool, and they get to feel shiny.
Loco is great. He's picked out another issue that popped up with the game, and it's definitely frustrating for me because I play it as on PC. Is custom usernames were removed due to people writing code that could delete other people's game libraries.
What the hell?
I didn't know that was true.
Rude names.
I thought it was because of rude names. Yeah.
I thought because of the rude names.
Do you mean they were literally able to remove games from their Steam library, or they were just able to remove them off the hard drive? Can you please? We're going to have a bit of a 15-second lag on this, but if Lyoko could please confirm. Lyoko, I believe, was our first subscriber, so big shouts. That's mental. Off the hard drives. Okay. Thank God that's only a massive security breach.
Oh, jeez.
Because if they can get the game, what else could they get? Oh my good lord!
Because
I honestly thought it's because people put in swear words in.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that's just standard.
Because also with the also at the end of each round, when you see the beans that get eliminated and punted off back down to falling, some people have kind of managed to code it so their names took up the entire screen. So kind of like, look at my name. Look how big it is. It's one letter. It's a B.
It's like my penis.
I think Harriet's current giggle fit explains why people do that. If anyone's after the psychology of it, because
they get a laugh out of it,
they get a laugh of it. That's you've also got the mentality that they don't think it harms anyone. So,
and to be fair, I mean, I say like I'm being really highbrow at cheating, but when I see a swear word in something, I will giggle like a child. So
I'm a child.
Somebody put all guy something or other, and it was very rude. And I thought that's why they'd done it. I had absolutely no idea. AI wants to play games and said, was there a code injection? So I mean, obviously
that's
this is
going to be
my intelligence, but
that's nuts. You may have to look a little bit further into that. So it might be post-show analysis.
Well, no, if you're coming off a PC, it's not that. It shouldn't be that hard to do a code injection.
Yeah.
But again, though, the issue is not that these things were found because you're talking. It's the same principle as any other kind of computer security. You cannot make a system invulnerable. Someone will always come up with a way of getting through. So it's not about the strength of defense, it's about the depth of defense. It's what you do to mitigate the issues. It's as I said earlier, every game goes wrong, every game's got glitches, every game's got problems. The question is, how does the company react to it? That is the thing players should be concerned about. Admittedly, if you've got someone like EA or Blizzard or people who've been churning stuff out for years and it's essentially a reskin, if they release it and it's an absolute pile of crap, then that's a different issue. But for something like this, which, I mean, who the hell heard of Mediatronic until like a week ago?
Yeah. Just quickly before we carry on, big shout out to Tressic, who has just followed us. Hello, welcome to
Hi Tressic, welcome to the Star.
You're enjoying the show. Don't forget, you can also subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to do a Bunkerzilla roar. And I know a couple of our subscribers are in the channel, so they'll be able to show off what a roar is.
God, you're not going to ask me to do that again, are you?
What?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. See, roaring. Frankie Man's roaring. Hello, welcome to the Fun Trissic. So, I think in their stride, Mediatonic have done pretty well in terms of in handling their sort of community, because their Twitter feed's usually quite a good laugh, to be honest. Because they'll be talking about people doing different fan arts and sort of like weird, strange, like what's actually underneath the bean costume. And there's real strange things. But
I would not want to be the person who had to moderate that thread.
No, it's like they'll respond to things they know they feel comfortable about doing.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the cool things they did over I think the launch month is they had an auction on Twitter where they sort of said, we will create a custom skin for any company, any brand who bids the highest. I think the highest bid was about $1 million.
That's all going to charity, isn't it?
That is going to special effects. And I think it was a combination. I can't remember who, but I know Ninja was involved there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah. It's like, but
that's pretty cool.
It is really cool that it's sort of like there's a nice little community for Fall Guys as well. I like the look of season 2. Season 2 is all about Vikings and medieval stuff.
I'm looking forward to season 2.
The format of it has absolute legs, because all they need to do is each season come up with a new look and a new ridiculously simple game that's a bastard to learn and a bastard to master. So yeah.
I've just had images. Iain, you know, you just said about looking inside the beans. Does anyone remember? I was going slightly off topic, but now because I can't get it out of my head. Does anybody remember when someone did the internal images of the characters from Cars?
Yeah,
what
that
they
was
would look
horrific.
like
I haven't
with all their
seen
internal
that.
organs. I've just got that in my head now of these beans, but like
do
what
I
they
look?
look like inside.
I'll find
If
them
you
for
hold
you.
nightmare fuel,
Proper
they're
nightmare
brilliant.
fuel.
They are brilliant, but they're also horrifying.
I've just seen on the Fall Guys Twitter, someone made a birthday cake. Someone made a
I've just
birthday
seen
cake
that as well.
That's so cute.
Hang on, I will get that. I'll get that on screen in a few moments. But
This broadcast is not sponsored by Fall Guys.
No, it is
if
not.
they do want to sponsor us, then hell yeah, motherfucker, hit us
Yes,
up.
please. I play that all the time. I'm like level 30
I do.
now.
I do quite like the. There has been quite a bit of a community thing.
Oh,
that's adorable.
That is amazing.
There's a lovely community at the moment. It's a shame it's going to turn toxic, but
oh god, I know. Unfortunately,
yeah, fandom ruins everything.
Yeah.
But,
enjoy it while it lasts, kids.
Yeah,
enjoy for now. Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the fun of Fall Guys for now before things.
Jacko3600, their Twitter was noticed by Wendy's too. Yeah, that's because Wendy's Twitter noticed everyone.
Wendy's is good.
But if anyone wants to know, that cake was made. The image was on Instagram from a Velina Serotic as well. So it's on there. It's on the Fall Guys Twitter feed. You'll be able to follow that cake creator. It's really, really nice. Anyway, right, we're going to carry on with a little bit of the games. So let's cool our Fall Guys love for a little bit. Let's talk all about next gen, shall we? And let's move on to a couple of little tidbits. Look, there's a PlayStation 5, and what's that? That looks like a new Xbox. It is a new Xbox.
This was on Twitter today, and it just pissed me off so much. There was basically... Oh, no. I'm sorry, I have to get this one the hell off my chest. In one corner, there were a whole load of people who are devotees of the PlayStation gods, screaming at their top of their lungs that anyone who buys an Xbox is an idiot. And there was all these people who are Xbox devotees screaming at the top of their lungs that anyone who buys the PlayStation is an idiot. And they were all screaming at people who have already made their minds up about their preferred console and aren't going to listen to anyone screaming at them. So I really hope everyone had a good day making the most pointless Twitter thread in history. There were good conversations out there. There were decent threads you could jump on, but you had to be there within bloody bang before the lock went in, because then the screaming hordes turned up and just went wah, 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 and I was just Get me a gun, you horrible! Shut up!
It's like Marvel and DC again.
Yeah.
We had one at work. We had a chat start, and people were saying, "Oh, which one do you think?" And I was kind of like, and two of us just said, "Not haven't made a decision. I'll probably just stick with PC. Quite happy at the moment. Might see." No, you got to pick one. I don't want to pick one.
No, you don't have to pick one.
Pick one.
Rules of life.
Decide.
Like picking your favourite child.
Do what I was doing. Get both. Get none. This isn't a question that people should be feeling they got their backs up to the wall again. Which unit do you wish to engage in for your pastime? Is not a life-altering question.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you going to
I do wish Xbox had come up with a different naming convention, though, because I must admit I am getting a bit confused.
What?
I'm waiting for the Xbox Series.
Spin the wheel and knock it. Spin the wheel and knock off early for lunch. Yeah, I like that naming convention.
Yeah, Series S, and then there's a Series Y.
AMD versus Nvidia. I'm going to take Larry the Fuzz. Larry the Fuzz just brought up AMD versus Nvidia. I am going to dispute Larry because those are tools which you have definable outputs of. So they're a tool that does a thing, so you can actually have a reasonable. Oh no, he's referring about the screaming nutheads that yell and jump because one of them comes in a slightly different shade of blue.
The biggest argument that a lot of people, well, not argument, but a lot of the reason that I know a lot of people are saying I'm not making a decision is because they're waiting for things like the exclusives. Because I know there's talk of a Fable game coming out. Now, if Fable is only going to be Xbox, then I might be more persuaded to go for the Xbox because I'm a big Fable player. And there's another one for the PS, and I can't remember the name of it. Exclusive.
No, these are consoles. You mustn't have reasoned discourse. You need rampant tribalism. Oh God, waiting for the facts. What sort of heathen does that when looking at what they're going to shell 400 quid out on?
I've ignored. I mean, that's just it. I can't afford one of the new ones, so that's not going to happen.
Just quickly, just to confirm, Fable is definitely coming to Xbox Series X or S or next gen because they did a teaser trailer for it at the end of their last showcase. In terms of PlayStation 5 exclusives, you've got the next Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. You've got Spider-Man Miles Morales. You've got Ratchet & Clank coming. So a lot of the familiar properties getting releases with life.
Sorry, I just saw Larry the Fuzz.
Larry the Fuzz, Betamax versus VHS. Again,
no.
Tools.
No, I can do one better.
Gosh,
yeah.
HD DVD versus Blu-ray versus UMD.
Oh no.
Oh.
Triple threat rules. Hang on. I might actually have an HD DVD somewhere. 2 seconds.
Right.
Oh my God.
Carry on talking.
They're all obsolete.
No, again, these are tools which you can make objective, reasoned discussions about, and you can present the technical pros and cons. But I am old enough to remember people having arguments in the bloody schoolyard about VHS versus Betamax. So, thank God that preceded Twitter, mate. We used to just yell nonsense in each other's face. Okay.
Yeah.
So Larry,
it was Digimon versus Pokemon.
But again, this is the thing. You can have reasoned discussions. You can have reasons debate. There are pros and cons that can be put forward and discussed and all that. But no one's doing that because they want to scream over a fucking console.
Yeah. I mean, really, we need to be talking about how they look like an air conditioner and a speaker. I think that's the bigger argument here.
I like the new designs because
I think they look nice.
Both of them just went, we could make a console or we could not. So they don't look like consoles, and I love it. These are objet d'art. People just took all the previous years of what must a console look like and went, bollocks, that's dull. I think it's great.
I quite like the fact that they're white.
Confused. Yeah, they're really striking.
They're easier to dust. Well, it's just
Yeah.
so old. The black ones, as soon as the sun comes in through your window, all you can see is the dust, and you're like, oh no, I've got to dust that now. It's going to bother me. White, won't see it.
These are things that are going. As long as it plays the games I want, I'm happy. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Lyco.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have something that's in pride of place in your lounge, why not make it look great?
Mm.
Or
I do like the PS
like
one.
a doorbell.
I think that looks nice.
Just quickly, I've got a few comments here. We got obviously latest follower Trisic has said that he was there in Japan the day Toshiba threw in the towel on the HD DVD. Ironically, he was in the Sony building across the road.
Yeah, come by.
Lovely.
But there were some interesting gestures through the window there.
It's like out of the two formats, I did actually go for HD DVD because it had Xbox support, and it was a nicer price point. But yeah, a lot of the studios just kind of went, no, we'll go with Blu-ray. So Sony was obviously leading Blu-ray, and then
the pricing of the Xbox. Now that's a bold move. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, $249 for the Series S.
That is more interesting.
That's a reasonable price.
But no one's talking about no one's talking about actual interesting things like the UX, or there's some people talking about exclusives, but a lot of them are talking about it in really panty twisting ways rather than, I'll get this because I like it. But
yeah, so
they anger me somewhat.
The two stories I had regarding this now.
Sorry,
there was an article on Polygon towards the end of August that revealed that Ubisoft had said that the PlayStation 5 will not be backwards compatible with PS3, PS2, or PS1. And considering a lot of PlayStation older games are now either available through their sort of PlayStation Now digital stream download, the cloud platform. I think it's kind of the whole thing of backwards compatibility is I like it to a degree because you don't have to kind of keep, if you can use the same console and it still plays the same way in that sort of sense. But I think sometimes with the sort of lack of backwards compatibility, it's kind of, well, you've kind of got to keep your old console going and alive before, in case it coughs its last game and falls over.
You want backwards compatibility? Get a PC. Sorry, but everyone knows you don't get it with consoles.
Yeah, I think backwards compatibility had its place. I'm trying to think how to word this. There were games that you had a lot of playability in. Like some of the older Scrolls games and Final Fantasy games, where it's not just a case of playing the game, it's finished and done. It's you can go back and you can keep playing it. So backwards compatible for certain games was great because it was like, I'm still enjoying this game. I don't want to, I've got the new console, but I really enjoy this game. So I kind of get that. But I think if we're on PS5 now and you're complaining that you can't play your PS1 games on it, I think that's pushing it, really. You're asking a bit too much. If you really, really want to go and play the retro games, there are ways in which you can do that. But I would think that it should be backwards compatible
on a PS1.
Yeah, I mean, backwards compatible with PS4, I get, because there might still be games that you're playing and you're enjoying, and then your PS4 blows up and you get the PS5. Oh, well, I can't play any of my games. I would be annoyed, but I wouldn't expect it to play my PS2 games.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed with Xbox, and chat, do correct me if I'm wrong on this one. One of the things with Xbox, and they've been doing this for Series X, is basically you can buy a game, you can buy one of the upcoming games like Cyberpunk or something like that, and if you move over to a new console, you can upgrade and transfer things across for free. And basically, you don't need to go out and buy the PlayStation 5 version or something like that again, or so forth. I think it's something. I think they do something similar to. I think they are trying to do something similar for PlayStation. But yeah, the big thing with Xbox is a lot of these games will have this big sticker saying optimized for Series X, which means you can play it on the current Xbox One consoles. You can play it on Series S and have a slightly better next gen experience, or you can carry it over to the big dog big console thing that they released. Sorry, I was trying not to refer to a console as a wrestler. Sorry, Harriet. Not Roman Reigns. Then you move it over to the highest tier console and get the full experience. And I think that makes next gen a bit more. It's not the way the both PlayStation and Sony are kind of pushing it out at the moment. It's like next gen is here, but you don't necessarily have to jump on the train just yet. Whereas previous launches, they've always said, "This is the next gen. You've got to jump on it right now to be in the game," or something like that.
They've hit a technical wall. Everything is moving. You know, the hard drive system is irrelevant. RAM, you can pretty much ship it out with more RAM than it's ever going to need. The graphics cards, they're always going to be a bit of an overhead, but sound, sod it. You chip to make any to get like 24 or even 52-bit synth. That's literally a chip. So that, and TVs aren't going as new as everyone thought they would. So there's no point. They haven't got the technology to keep up with. Blu-rays a lot of people basically think, a lot of very smart people basically think Blu-ray is going to be the last physical media. So why put in anything else?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, looking at, say, the digital versions of these consoles, the Series S and the PlayStation 5 digital, I'm more inclined to get a digital because I don't necessarily buy a lot of games on physical media. Most of my games I play, the ones I download from the stores and so forth. I'm not that fussed. And as well, in terms of a media player, well, the current Xbox One X that I have is a 4K Blu-ray player. I don't need to buy another 4K Blu-ray player. So if I can at least enjoy a little bit of next-gen gaming without having to fork out the additional cost to get another optical drive in my console, that's something that I would consider. And I think the way I kind of reacted to it on my own personal view this morning is like, I like the idea of the price point for Microsoft for the Series S. I want to see what PlayStation 5 digital is, because out of the two, I'm still kind of leaning towards PlayStation 5. I'll end up getting both eventually, but essentially at the moment, it's kind of like I feel more drawn to the games and the experiences that PlayStation offer, but it's the frustrating thing from a gamer, especially if you are a console gamer, is it's the game of chicken of basically, we've got a console, so have we. Do you want to see the price? No.
Yeah.
No, I want to see your price. No, you can't see our price. We want to see your price. Yeah. And then along comes Nintendo with another Switch or something.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a great video online that showcases that.
The next Nintendo's the mental one, isn't it? Because they always do the mad one that's great, and then they do the mental one that everyone looks at and just goes, "What?"
So basically, we need the Wii U equivalent of the Switch.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The Switch is basically brilliant. No one saw it coming. It's crazy and it's brilliant. So the next one's probably going to be operated by putting goats in it. I don't, 3 nose switches. I'm not going to say what the next Nintendo console is going to be because I haven't had the right drugs today. We've got a comment here that I'd like to mention. Lyco again. We like Lyco. Lyco gives us talking points. I just don't like the fact that if you lose your account for any reason, all your game licenses go bye-bye. Yeah, no, that's a serious thing with moving to the digital. Plus, always online. Wonderful theory. Some people don't have perfect broadband. Some people don't have broadband.
I do have a question about this, and I want to see, because you're all gamers, so I want to see if you agree. I don't mind having digital games on my PC because I Steam. So they're all digital. I don't have any hard copies. But for some reason, I absolutely balk at the idea of not having physical console games. I don't like getting digital games on console. I like to go and buy the actual physical DVD, game. But I don't know why I'm so different between the two, because it must be habit.
Pure habit.
Feeling like PC is more secure. I don't know.
It's going to be pure habit. I think also.
Yeah, Leo says the same. Yeah.
I think also some of it is because a PC is is something you are in control of. You have more. In my case, I definitely have more control about it because I've put the damn thing together and I've got 100 bells and whistles set up so it just does whatever I damn well tell it to. I think people are just a bit more worried that someone like Sony or whoever could just do an upload and brick your machine because they're bastards. Because like with Apple, it's and as Lyco says, it's a collector's thing. But the collector thing is kind of habit again. You reach a point where you've got so many bits of plastic in your house, you just like digital. But it's all it is habit.
Yeah, it's weird. I just wondered if anyone else is the same as to why I've got this line between the two, which there's no difference. So...
I go and buy comics. I buy physical comics, and it would be far easier for me to just read them online. So I'm exactly the same. I want to have the comic.
I think for me, it's actually going to the shop and actually buying it, and you're actually physically holding in your hand the game you've been looking forward to for so long. It's just like the psychological, I think, idea of like, oh, I actually have this now. I can go play it. So I'm
that's part of the experience.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when Animal Crossing came out, I think that was the first game I properly downloaded on my Switch, and it was very strange. So I've started downloading some games, not all. I mean, I don't have enough room on my PlayStation to download a lot, but at least with I know you can get external memory, but I don't really game a lot on my PlayStation, so I just kind of stick more to Switch. And but it's like Andrew said, it's like you build up plastics. I mean, I can look beside me and I've got like tons of cases for Switch games, and it's just like you could easily just download them. It'd be so much easier. But there is the pros and cons of, well, what's going to happen if, so to say, like you said, it's bricked and then that's it. You've lost all your data. At least with a cartridge, you have that, and then with your data, you can get it downloaded afterwards. But
or in Moonshine, downloading the game doesn't have the same feel to it as having to put it in a disc or cartridge on the console to be able to play. It is play. It is. This is what I'm saying. It's the experience. It's like, I will maintain, and Iain will thoroughly disagree with me, one of the big reasons a lot of people like going to the cinema is the experience. It is the experiential part. They're not with sound and with TV screens today. You are probably getting to within spitting distance, if you're into your stuff, of having exactly the same audio and visual experience if you do it at home. Now, considering that cinema is sound and vision, that should be exactly the same thing. But there is absolutely something about going to the cinema and going to a single place to just watch a film, even though you could just sit down on your sofa. So it is the experiential thing that people enjoy getting stuff. It gives it a sense of occasion.
I think with the cinema argument, there is, I think if
we're not having the cinema argument in now, Iain.
I know we're not having the cinema argument. I mean, it's like your point of view.
Yeah.
I am more in line thinking that home technologies make film watching a more personal experience at the moment, and that's mostly because the current trend of cinemas, as much as they are wonderful places to go to, the current state of how they handle digital technology, digital cinema and stuff like that, it gives them an excuse to be extremely lazy in how they present films and so forth. And that's an experience. That's the experience I have from my own personal history of actually being a chief projectionist for about a year in Henley. It's basically I gave a damn about how the film looks, and I go to different cinemas, and people and unfortunately some cinemas just don't give a damn about the whole experience. That's why the home experience feels more. It's improving, and it's becoming a lot more of a draw.
I'll be perfectly honest, though. One of the most disturbing developments in cinema technology for me was paperless tickets. I want my damn cinema stub. I want my stub to go home with, and that is the console in the box. That's the cartridge in the box. That is the lack of the experience, and some people want what is technically the superior technology on a number of levels, and some people, if I'm going to spend 60 quid on a game, I want a damn box and a disc. That's all it is.
I must admit, one thing I do miss, and you don't get this now, even with physical, not to the level you used to, but and anyone who's never experienced this, I am deeply sorry that you never got to experience this, because people of a certain generation will remember this, is that when you bought your new game and you got it open, you put that disc in and it's downloading or uploading or whatever it is, and you got to read through the booklet. The really good booklet that used to give you like lore and characters and art and not just how to play, but all this. And you'd be sitting there for ages going, it's okay. And you had something to do while you were waiting, and it was brilliant. And you get a new game now and you open it and you're like, oh, there's like a picture, a flyer or something, and then that's it. And it's just like
the DLC code. That's it.
I had that. I bought a game. I can't remember what it was. I bought the game. I was really excited about it. It turned up in the post. I opened it up, and it was just a bloody Steam code, and I was livid.
Oh, no.
I just blew my. I was just so. What
ruined.
the hell is this?
From my point of view, to answer Charlotte's question more about games, it's like I'm kind of 50-50 with things, because if I can get it for cheap as a download, I don't mind. There are certain games that I probably will go and get. I think the last physical game that I brought was Last of Us Part 2. And I think the whole experience of setting that up was a bit of experience. We had the install disc as well as the game disc, which I'd never seen for a PlayStation game in the many years I've owned one. I know they've done it for games like Final Fantasy VII Remake and so forth, but it was just like opening up and going, you have to put this disc in first. All right.
Wow. I think it does matter on the game, because there are certain games where, like you say, if I got a cheaper digital one, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine, because I just want to blast through it. But then, I remember getting Skyrim, and I remember like clearing my calendar for the weekend, making sure I had the snacks and the drinks in ready. I was living with my parents at the time, and I was like, you're gonna have to leave me alone this weekend. Making sure the telly was in the right position, ready. All that. I was prepared. It was like a whole experience, and I absolutely loved it. I wouldn't do that for every game, but I'd been waiting for Skyrim for so long. And there are other games that I would, like the Fable series and any Silent Hill. It was like an experience. And I love having the books. I love all the artwork and everything. So I get what you mean. Certain games, I'm not bothered. I'll get the digital one. But I do think there's still something really special about having that physical experience with a game.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Well, I think we should move on to our last little quick topic. We've got about 10 minutes to go, and we can always have a little bit of a fun with let's have a little bit of fun with our next topic, and it's something I think Harriet's going to enjoy having some fun with. Let's talk about the silliness that is WWE and Twitch, shall we? So this is the story that has been going on for the last couple of days, and it's been updating every so day at the moment. This is last week, WWE said to all its active superstars that use Twitch or Cameo for fan interaction and stuff like that, you need to stop that now. And you've got 30 days. And let me just take this off. And you've got 30 days. Basically,
I would love to see the part of the contract that let them do that.
Well, this is it. The contract, apparently, it just keeps on changing. I mean...
I'll go through the series of events here. So around last week, Vince McMahon, crazy man that he is in charge of WWE, and he is forever a crazy mad person. They tell superstars they send out a letter to all superstars saying that they can't use Twitch. Obviously, if they do Twitch streaming, and a lot of their wrestlers who don't properly appear on shows use Twitch to play games, interact with fans, or Cameo, which is like the personal sort of video service thing, so you get to do like a shout out or a little gift, something like that. And it allows them to get a little bit of an extra income as well. Basically, they said, no, you can't do that now. You have 30 days, stop it by the 2nd of October. Their key argument here was they're representing characters or IPs that belong to WWE. So using their wrestling names or anything that connects them to WWE on platforms can be a PR nightmare. And you kind of get a point. You kind of see their point there. So I think some of the things that have happened recently that have caused this is one wrestler in particular talked about getting COVID recently, and WWE weren't particularly happy about that at all. So you've got that.
Have better health and safety for your bloody employees.
Yeah.
Though.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
There have been reports that they have not been keen on people talking about having COVID symptoms or having COVID results, because basically the moment you put that out there, WWE just go, oh no, it's a PR nightmare. It's a PR nightmare. And it's like WWE compared themselves to like brands like Disney or Warner Brothers, and it's like, okay, it's like their initial argument I kind of get. It's the whole sort of there's just been random tidbits on this one. There was a period where they were saying they also own their legal names.
Sorry, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
This was the argument.
Just hang on. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, right?
Yeah.
You are saying that the WWE, so like, they obviously Mankind, they own Brotherly Dude Love, they own. But what they're saying is that Mr. Mick Foley, did not own the name Mick Foley
while they were with the WWE. That was a key thing. They've had a lot of
on
updates.
that.
It's incredibly nuts. There's been some updates recently, and there was one yesterday. So basically, they've been told now, after the W wrestlers all kicked off about all this, they've turned around and said, okay, you can keep your YouTube and your Twitch channels, but you've got to use your real names now and not your stage names. So they've gone back on that weird thing.
That's because that's going to be unenforceable otherwise, because you then enter into the whole world of what is the character and what isn't. Because you're essentially saying, otherwise you end up with a bizarre situation where you're saying if someone goes down the shops and buys a pack of washing up powder, are they doing that as Mick Foley or Mankind?
It must be problematic for wrestlers who use their real names as their wrestlers' names. It's like, for example, John Cena's real name is John Cena. It's the same with AJ Styles. It's short for Alan Jones or something like that.
There would be certain aspects that they'd be able to argue, like if they always wear a certain costume or if they have a catchphrase, they'd be able to go, right, you can't use that.
Yeah.
But trying to stop someone using their legal name, we no longer live in a world of indentured servitude, technically.
Yeah.
Question for those of us who don't watch wrestling at all.
Sure,
so people the wrestlers, are they employees of WWE? Are they like
they're classes?
No,
independent contractors.
Yeah,
because I can kind of see it from certain points. Because like again, I'm going to use my own reference here because I don't watch wrestling. I do apologize to everyone, but I don't. I was thinking back to when Jason Biggs got fired from the Ninja Turtles series because he put something on his Twitter that was not child friendly. And they basically said no, because everyone knows who you are, the voice of one of the Ninja Turtles. You said something that's really, really, and it was really appropriate. So he got fired, and they brought Seth Green in. And it was kind of under the understanding that if you are a character on a children's show, even though he is Jason Biggs and not Leonardo, he still shouldn't be doing things that could bring the series into disrepute. So I get that, because you got to know your audience. But I was wondering if it was the same for these. If they might do something that was of ill repute, but then, like you say, if they're independent contractors and it's very murky about,
it would all be down.
Andrew was saying, I mean, if one of them goes on, they're on their Facebook, or they, like you say, they're in the street and they decide, they go, oh my God, I hate my phone contract, they're rubbish. Does that mean that then they're going to get in trouble? And
there have been some loose tongues on Twitter with wrestlers, especially like Seth Rollins, for example.
Yeah, I think one thing as well, I mean, in terms of that, in that area with the WWE, the last couple of months, they have not really had great elements of PR from some of their wrestlers. There was, during the Black Lives protest marches, you had one or two superstars who were featuring prominently on television, giving support for Trump and kind of saying, yes, they must stop the riots and all this sort of stuff. And they were kind of quickly muted off TV, but it was like that was unnecessary attention that WWE didn't really need. And then there's been, I don't know if you guys have been aware of the whole speaking out movement over. So basically,
I heard on that one. Yeah,
so they've had the big speaking out movement over June, and obviously it sheds light on a lot of different wrestlers in a very bad way. Some of those wrestlers who were connected to things like WWE, NXT UK, they have either been suspended or they haven't come back yet, or they have been properly let go. That was
essentially wrestling's Me Too movement, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And there's one or two individuals at the moment on NXT who have had very, very questionable activities and a very bad behavior reported. Like there is potential proof online about, say, messaging underage fans or children or something like that, and nothing has properly been done.
No.
So it's kind of, it's like, if it was like a blanket approach from WWE on a lot of things, so obviously if they talk ill about their company or they talk ill about sponsors and all that, yeah, I get that. Yeah, absolutely. They keep that out. They need to do it on both ends, and they haven't at times, and it's very, very,
it's very contradictory.
And in this particular one, I think the fact is wrestlers get more attention through doing Twitch and YouTube stuff at the moment, because half of them are not even involved in active storyline on the main programs. So if this is the way they connect to the fans, if this is how they raise money for charity, this is how they get their character or gimmick over with fans, then this is great for them to use.
Well, if going to the cameo thing, if this is how they keep food on their table, because as you said, half of them aren't working at the moment.
Yeah.
So they need to make they're independent contractors, so they're not going to be on getting money off WWE, because apart from anything else, Vince McMahon, they need to go on Cameo and they need to be making their cash so they can eat.
Yeah.
You know, not all of them are big, not all of them are huge names. Not all of this is high spec, high issue like Black Lives Matter or whatever. Some of this is just basically stopping. You're telling an independent contractor what they can and can't do with their trade. I would be really, I'm never going to see them, but I would be really interested to see what the actual contracts are written as, because what you were saying about the Ninja Turtle voiceover stuff, that would be written into their contract. There would be ill repute thing. There would be clauses brought into that. Now that would also be put in the WWE contracts, but you then get in, because you got the whole character thing, that becomes a lot more complicated. And you've also got a independent contractor contract is different to a direct employee contract.
Yeah.
And I think that these guys are trying to have their cake and eat it. They're trying to treat these people like members of staff, but not have them on permanent contract. And that's where I've got my biggest issue with all of this. And even I would even extend this to people expressing opinions that I find morally abhorrent on stuff like BLM and stuff like on Trump and all that. You're basically enforcing on an independent contractor their right to have a political opinion. And those the anti-BLM and the Trump thing, and I really would rather see them all go down to the bottom of the sea like their flotilla did. But you're trying to tell that's like me telling the guy that comes around to fix my lights, by the way, when you're driving home, you can't have whatever political flag on your car. It's like, well, no, he's driving home. I'm not employed him. He's not carrying my merch. So that's God. The WWE have got shitty employee practices.
Oh,
sorry.
It's been a year of downs for them. But anyway, sorry, Charlotte, you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to ask Harry and you, Iain, because you and Andrew, I don't know as well. But Harry, you're a big fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Of WWE. Yeah. So, I mean, you might understand this, or you might have a bit more of an insight in this just because, but do you think it's more like a knee-jerk reaction that these things have popped up and they've suddenly gone, we need to, so they've just scattershotted and then realised, actually, this is probably not the best way we should do it. And now they're backpedaling.
Very much, because it's their way of making money outside of WWE, and Vince is a businessman, so he's probably thinking, oh well, if they're going to make money out of this is my, like you said, shotgun reaction, right? So you've got 30 days to get rid of the account, otherwise you're suspended, fired, whatever, and then that's them gone. Because a lot, like Iain said, a lot of wrestlers aren't wrestling because like storyline, they're not well, they're not relevant, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And they have to make their money, because a lot of wrestlers do rely on their bookings. And now that we're in this age of the virus kicking in, how are they going to make their money if they're not going to be shown on TV? And a lot of them are get paid per match. So if they're not wrestling and they have to make a quick buck, then go down Cameo, go down Twitch.
Are they on exclusive contracts where they can only wrestle for one organization?
Yes. Basically, if you sign with WWE,
that's not an independent contractor. Fuck off.
Exclusivity deal.
It does sound very muddy in terms of what they are, because it sounds like they're indentured to the WWE, but without. It's like I think like Harriet was saying, I think you got the nail on the head there. It sounds like they want to have the benefits of if they were employees, but not actually have to pay anything or be there for them as employers, which again, you can't really have your cake and eat it and then expect everyone to be fine with it. Like you say, this is people's livelihoods, and especially now, people have got to be a lot more savvy as to where their income's coming.
Yeah. We got a comment from Jekko3600. Many people may use to get out of their contracts. Now, obviously, when they first broke the decision to shut down all operations on these channels, there was the threat of, you could be suspended, face a fine, or get sacked. And for some wrestlers, they probably wouldn't have batted an eyelid on that, because they're not being used, and there are now there are equally high profile companies out there that have primetime TV as well, AEW, who may be happy to take them on. I think a common misconception of the time is the moment a WWE wrestler leaves or is released from their contract, they say, everyone's on AEW. Yeah, but no, it's kind of, it's been, the pushback was not surprising. I just think the whole situation again could have been handled better from WWE. I'm going
to suggest, like with many industries out there, the current situation with COVID is not changing situations, it's accelerating situations.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that we're going to see an acceleration of the situation of WWE not being the only game in town. And I know WWE is huge, and I know WWE has been the big boy forever, but it's going to have a shit time with its monopoly if it carries on like this. Because
they're already in a ratings war on Wednesdays with All Elite Wrestling. So it's like, and they have been losing that battle. I mean, it seems like the plan is. The plan might be to not go head to head. It's like, well, fair enough. I mean, they are two very contrasting products. One is kind of family friendly now. They've kind of started to edge back towards a bit of edgy television, not Attitude Era edgy television, but they allow to swear a little bit more, I suppose. But whereas AEW is kind of Attitude Era ish, but it's just so much wrestling to catch up with, really. It's just.
Well, you think about it. The poor chumps that get the people in the setup matches that just turn up to be chewed out and spat out by this season's big, bright young thing.
Yeah, they're
not going to be able to go on Cameo. So where's the incentive for working with the WWF if you're not a superstar?
Yeah,
and if you just have superstars, you're not going to have enough people. Not everyone can be The Rock.
No, this is true.
No undercard, no show.
True. Yeah. But we'll have to see how it goes on. It looks like with the current things seem to peter down a little bit on that one. But it's like I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow if we wake up and there's another development in this bizarre story of now saying they can't appear in films that are not produced by WWE. It's like, what? Because some of their stars have made films when they've been part of WWE, but they weren't produced by WWE. So
I think it's a good lesson in how not to digital market yourself.
Yeah.
I think the problem is, a lot of marketing, and this is just from experience, a lot of marketers who are now working in the digital landscape were not originally digital marketers. They're traditional marketers. And the traditional marketing thing is to put out a release as soon as possible to mitigate problems. But that's back when people used to read marketing and press releases in magazines and newspapers, when you had time and there was feedback that came slowly. The digital marketing world does not operate like that. And you can't just pink something out there and then go, oh, actually, we didn't think about that. Let's have it back and let's do it again. Because the internet remembers. So
I generally wonder if someone had to explain to Vince McMahon what Twitch was. It's like, what's this Twitch?
Most likely.
People play games. What games? What, like Monopoly? No, video games. What, like a Mega Drive or a Genesis? It's like, can we do stuff? No, sir. All right.
No.
Burn it down. Burn it all.
just turn off this Twitch. Just turn it off. I don't want to see it.
That's a YouTube.
It's like someone saying like they want a video taken down and they're like, well, just delete it. It's like, no, it's on the internet now. Yes, we'll just delete it and make it go away.
What the
internet? It never happened.
I would genuinely love to be a fly on the wall.
I still have to admit there are still random moments that Vince McMahon still just amazing me. There's a documentary about the last WrestleMania which they filmed on a closed set, and there's footage of him showing how to jump off a ledge.
Yes, I have seen it.
So like climb up over this barrier. The barrier is like 10, 12 feet in the air. It's like, yeah, just climb this and then just jump off. No. What do you mean you're not jumping off? I'm scared. Right?
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't consider steroids part of your 5 a day.
I'm gonna have to go watch videos of this man because he sounds.
Oh, I will find the link for you.
I want to say marvelous in the way that.
Yeah. Vince
someone has actually said someone needs to draw fan art of it.
Anyway,
it is pretty much time to wrap up because we've had a lovely conversation. Some lovely little nuggets there. So yes, we do need to bring things to a close. As always, as we end every episode of the Big Stomp, we give our panelists a little time to shine and plug all the stuff that they're up to. And let's start off with Charlotte.
Hello. Hi. So yeah, you can find me on YouTube as the Cross-Eyed Gamer. I'm also on most other social channels. I've been having a hiatus at the moment, but we'll be gaming again soon. So you can join me for horror gaming exclusively.
Yay. And now we move over to Harriet, who's doing a lot. I think are you taking a break from reaction videos at the moment, Harriet, or are you still enjoying the Ninja Sex Party live Game Grumps live WWE live?
One is literally been scheduled to upload 40 minutes ago. So so I'm doing rewatch reactions of past NSP videos to fill the time before their new music video comes out in October sometime, which is going to be like one of their biggest videos they've made yet. And people have been enjoying them. I've had messages saying, oh, this is just a great way to kind of take the time off their day, I suppose, of watching it. So that's good. I filmed 6 more a couple of weeks ago, so I'm slowly editing them now. They're going to be up every Tuesday and Friday at 9 o'clock GMT, but I'm going to move it to Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays to speed it up because I think I've got 13 videos left to do, and then Starbomb as well because I've been requested to look at those as well, and some twerps. So it's going to be very busy in the next couple of months. So, and then also WrestleCrate as well, and Magic the Gathering unboxings, because that's what all my money is pretty much going on at the moment until NSP release new merch this month sometime. So yeah, you can catch me at MangoGirl232 on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all the same URL.
Lovely. And of course, Mighty Man, let's hear all about Treasure watch parties.
Yes, on Thursday I'm going to be hosting the first Trash or Treasure watch party on Twitch. It is Horror Week, so come and join us there, 8 o'clock UK time. We watch a movie, we vote whether it's trash or treasure. I then write up something and put that on the trash or treasure blog. The only rule we have is if you start it, you must finish it. Then there's the normal, all the stuff I found to watch. Stuff on Trash or Treasure. There will be another Big Stomp. The last, did we say Tuesday or Wednesday? Which day are we
Wednesday now?
Right, the last Wednesday of the month. We're going to have the regular Big Stomp at 8 o'clock. What else am I doing? I'm generally maintaining the Super Fortress, helping with the needlessly aggressive products, and generally living the wonderful life. So yeah.
Lovely. And of course, there's a lot of stuff happening on Twitch this week. Tomorrow it's Film Raw, so you can find out me and Christian's thoughts on Mulan. Thursday, as we just heard, it will be the Treasure Watch Party. Friday, I'm doing virtual Quiz Smash, so come along, come to the Twitch channel. You can all take part. Let's see who gets the most points. I'm going to give you at least 100 questions, quick, fun to answer questions as well. You might know some, you might not. It's going to be bit interesting. We'll see how we get along. It's the first time we do virtual Quiz Smash, so we'll see how we go, because normal Quiz Smash will be back at the end of the month, where Charlotte and Lizzie will be co-defending their crowns against 2 new contestants who I need to go and enlist and that sort of stuff. And,
I have offered.
Well, you're taking some questions next time.
Oh yeah, true. But if I write the questions, I've got a chance of getting at least some of them right. I can
get full 10 points, and then Eliminator comes up and bollocks. But yes, there's also lots of content on bunker.co.uk podcasts, so you can also enjoy podcasts such as Real History UK, Binges and Box Sets, Hustlers of Culture, and also read the Trash or Treasure reviews. There's even some upcoming film reviews coming up soon, because Raggedy Man has just reviewed Deep Blue Sea 3, which I'm surprised even exists. And there is also, hopefully soon, coming very, very soon, will be a review of William Shatner's latest horror fest extraordinaire, The Tomb, Devil's Revenge, or Demon's Revenge. I can't remember the title off the top of my head. But as always, you can support us on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch with Bunkerzilla UK. If you're able to subscribe to the channel, it will be wonderful. It's a wonderful way to support the channel and allows us to bring you new content and continue to stomp on for many months to go. It's September, so you can join with a new subscription at a discounted price. So take advantage of it and sign up and give us a Bunkerzilla Raw. It'll be lovely. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my guests, Raggedy Man, Charlotte, and Harriet, and to all you lovely people for watching. So until next time, stomp on, monsters of culture. Stomp on. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay weird.